Hello and welcome. Today we have this trending news. Iranian who made Paris airport home for 18 years dies. So, this is the picture of the man. Caught in a diplomatic limbo, Mahran Karimi Nasri made a small area of Roissy Charles de Gaulle Airport his home in 1988. Limbo. A limbo is a state where things don't improve or stay as they are because of uh, a legal problem, usually. So, this was a diplomatic limbo, so he couldn't leave the airport. His experience inspired the 2004 film The Terminal, starring Tom Hanks. This is a very famous movie for Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg. And in the movie, there was this guy, Viktor Navorski, I think his name was. He had the same problem. He stayed in the airport. Mr. Nasri was eventually given the right to live in France, but he ended up returning to the airport a few weeks ago, where he died of natural causes, an airport official told AFB. I think he went back to the airport because he felt that he was going to die soon and he wanted to die in a familiar place for him. Born in 1945 in the Iranian province of Khuzestan, Mr. Nassiri first flew to Europe in search of his mother. He spent some years living in Belgium, having been expelled from countries including the UK. Expelled. It is when people kick you out because they don't want you. Sometimes we say he was expelled from school, for example, because he wasn't a good student. The Netherlands, Holland, and Germany for not having correct immigration documents. He then went to France, where he made the airport 2F terminal his home. Nestled on his bench, surrounded by trolleys containing the positions he had accumulated. Nestled, this is like a bird when he stays in a nest. So he's living in this nest that he made for himself. He had accumulated, he had collected over time. He spent his days writing about his life in a notebook and reading books and newspapers. His story attracted international media attention and caught the eye of Steven Spielberg, who directed The Terminal, starring Hanks and Catherine Zeta Jones. So, Hanks and Catherine were the main stars of the movie. That's why we said starring. After the film's release, journalists flocked to speak with the man who had inspired a Hollywood movie. Flocked, it is like when we say birds of feather flock together. It is when people come in uh, large numbers to meet a person. At one point, Mr. Nassiri, who called himself Sir Alfred, was giving up to 6 interviews a day, La Parisienne reports. Despite being granted refugee status and the right to remain in France in 1999, he stayed at the airport until 2006. When he was taken to hospital to be treated from an illness, he then spent time living in a hostel using the money he had received for the film, French newspaper Liberation reports. Mr. Nassiri returned to the airport a few weeks ago, where he lived until he died. An airport official said he was found with several thousand euros in his possession, so he had several thousand euros, the officials added. Well, may he rest in peace. This is it for today. Thank you for your time. See you in other videos.